Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. A few things have happened which I want to tell you about, so we'll just have a walk down Pattaya beach while we have a chat. But just before we start, 93% of you guys who are watching are not subscribers. Please click the button bottom right and subscribe. It helps so much. Thank you. In the last video we talked about the special tourist visa, the STV, which, to be honest, is something that very few of you would ever bother to apply for. It's for 90 days, extendable twice, and it is expensive. It involves 14 days quarantine, and you've got to jump through a load of hoops to get one. So I don't think that many tourists are ever going to apply for that. But you may be interested to know what happened, because on the 8th of October there were 150 Chinese tourists who were due to arrive in Phuket on special tourist visas, and in fact they never arrived. And it turns out that the flight wasn't even booked. They never even got through the application forms. The whole thing was a complete shambles. In fact, everything had been arranged by the authorities in Bangkok, but they hadn't told the authorities in Phuket. And when the Phuket authorities found out about these 150 Chinese tourists on Guangzhou due to arrive on the 8th, they freaked out and said, "No way, because we have a vegetarian festival, huge festival, on the 17th to the 25th of October, which is a huge draw for domestic tourists. So the last thing they want is to scare them off by having 150 tourists from China suddenly arriving and mixing with these thousands of Thais at the festival." So they just cancelled it straight away, said not a chance, no. In an interview with the governor of Phuket, he said the first he even heard about it was when he watched it on television with everybody else. The Bangkok authorities had arranged everything without even talking to Phuket. It appears that the Bangkok authorities hadn't got a clue that there even was a festival during those days, even though it's the same time every year and has been for many years. So this is the state of play at the moment. I'll give you another example. This STV visa is only available to people who come from low-risk cities or countries. But if you go to a Thai embassy in any country and ask for a list of low-risk countries, or if your country is low-risk, there's no list available. And if you go to an embassy in your country and ask for all the information that you need to get an STV, it appears that it's different from country to country, and also it conflicts from country to country. There's no uniformity. The authorities are also talking about reducing the quarantine from 14 days to 10 days. But to be honest, it's not going to make any difference to normal tourists. 10 days is the same as 14 days. It's just not going to be acceptable. What they don't seem to understand is that to a tourist, every vacation day is precious, and none can be wasted in a quarantine. This special tourist visa has nothing to do with normal tourism at all. It's only for the very rich who are desperate to come to Thailand for whatever reason. When you add up all the costs, like the compulsory health insurance, which can only be provided by Thai companies, and the charter flight, and the government approved quarantine hotel, which must be booked through the government's own private travel company, which is called Thailand Long Stay, then it gets to be very, very expensive. Way beyond what any normal tourist would expect to pay. And bears no relationship to how it used to be a year ago. So let's suppose by some miracle you did manage to get to Thailand now. What would you find? It's nothing like it used to be the last time you were here. With the exception of Bangkok City, perhaps, which has more or less got back to normal. The other cities where tourism is the main income are like ghost towns, especially out on the islands where they're too far away from Bangkok. Places like Pattaya or Bang Sen or something which are reasonably near to Bangkok are managing to get some domestic tourism, but then it's only at weekends. But beyond that, if it's beyond a normal day trip's distance, they're dead as a doornail. There's nothing open hardly. Just the odd few things struggling to survive. It's just a nightmare at the moment. Taking Pattaya as an example, I would say that at least 70% of the workers who work in Pattaya normally have gone home to Isan. There's no reason for them to stay. There's no business here for them. I don't know how bad it will have to get before the Thai government decide to try to reopen the borders properly to tourism and find some way to manage the virus, and just instead of just staying in self-inflicted isolation. After all, people can be tested before they leave, and they can have a certificate to say that they're COVID free. Then they can be tested again when they get to Thailand to say they're COVID free. And they can make the wearing of masks mandatory everywhere, and people have to socially distance everywhere, and washing hands and everything, as everybody knows, is a way to prevent it. All this sort of thing could be done, but no, they don't want to do that. They just want to stop everyone coming in. The Thai authorities seem to be scared to death of a second wave, even though the first wave only killed 58 people. They seem to be waiting for a vaccine. Now, the problem with waiting for a vaccine is that even though the other 5 coronaviruses have been around for many, many years, there's never yet been a successful workable vaccine for any of them. So waiting for a vaccine could be a very long wait. Probably the best chance we've got is the fairly recently developed antibody medicines like Regeneron. At some stage, they're going to have to set aside their fears and start a science-based managed strategy and reopen the borders fully. How long that will take before that happens is anyone's guess. Anyway guys, that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and like and share and ring the bell, and I shall see you in the next video.